Hi there. I'm just doing a quick recording about how we can, things we can do to help ourselves to regulate. I've got a lot of questions. I'm seeing a lot of questions on the group as well about how do we get ourselves out of that state. So many parents are still learning this stuff and it takes practice. And we're getting into the fear state and the child's behaviours are triggering that. And we're escalating and it's triggering all of our own stuff. And it's up to us to do the work to get ourselves out of that. Until we do that, nothing's going to change. So I'm just on here. I'm going to offer all the things that I do that I find help me. It's about finding out what works for you. Everybody's different. I'm going to ask anyone watching this to put into the chat underneath what you do to help you, what you find works in your daily practice. So some of the great things that I found really, really make a difference. And it's taken me years to figure this out. This doesn't happen overnight. So obviously the breathing has helped me massively. Just doing it and doing it and doing it before I do anything else. But I've also found humming and tapping really helps me, which is I find it's got more sensory. There's more sensory input with this. So it's got something to do with the vagus nerve. I don't understand it all. I'm sure somebody might want to comment and explain it for those who want to know more. But the vagus nerve, and to do with the polyphagal theory, is where the trauma is stored. And when we become overwhelmed, the vibration changes in the vagus nerve and we go into that fight and flight. And if we can work to change that vibration and bring it back down again, then we can come back down into feeling of safety, come back down into that regulation. And so what I do, I'm going to show it to you. It's really embarrassing, but I'm going to show you. So we breathe in and we tap and we hum, okay? But I'm going to really bash my chest. And I'll do this until all my breath is out. And I can actually do this a lot. I have a really big lung capacity now because of all of the breathing that I've been doing. And I can do that really for quite a while. Whatever's comfortable, do it 3 times. I find it really brings me down. It helps to help me regulate when I start to get out of control and I feel like I can't do anything and it's all everything's spinning out of control and I'm overwhelmed and my child's overwhelmed. This really helps bring me down. I've had to do one recently. I discovered it because I was, as doing the role I do, running this group and the big main group, there is a lot of hate comes my way. A lot of times when I have to remove comments and make sure it's a safe place for people, I get backlash from those people that I remove the comments and they get really angry, they get really triggered because it's people are on the group, they're triggered, they're going to get triggered because we're all stressed and overwhelmed, we wouldn't be in this group otherwise. And they get really triggered and that's understandable, it's triggering for them, but they attack me and I try really hard to do my own emotional work around that, but I'm human and it taps into all my own not good enough and all my own, my heart and my pain. And I get really, really shaken by some of the things that I had to deal with. And this one particular time, I was really, really struggling with it. I felt tiny. I felt so small. I felt like I couldn't cope with all of the world around me. And I was actually going out to do a workshop and I just couldn't find my regulation. And I was feeling all that heaviness and that's churning in my stomach and all my thoughts telling me that I'm not good enough and who am I to be doing this work if I can't even regulate myself. I was just taking a bit of time trying to do all my work and none of it was working. And I remembered that I had learned this thing recently and I thought I'm going to give it a try. And so I'm going to show you what I did. So you put 2 fingers, actually it's this way around, I'm trying to show you, but 2 fingers on my vein. And where my finger is, I'm going to swap it for my thumb. And I'm going to pulse. I'm going to keep pulsing. And I keep pulsing. I'm going to keep doing my calm breathing. And I did that for a few minutes. Now, there's only one arm you really need to do this on, but because I get confused with my left and my right because I'm dyslexic and I couldn't tell you which is which, and I know it's got something to do with the one side that the heart is on, I don't know. So I just took the safe option and I did one side and then I stopped and I did the other side. So I was doing this as a last attempt to try and find myself some regulation and to bring myself back. And I did it and then I went about my business. Start to get ready for going to work. And before I knew, I'm singing and I'm having music on and I'm cleaning the house before I go. And I'm like, oh, I don't feel stressed anymore. It was gone. The only thing that I can explain it with is doing this. It made such a difference. And I just felt back to my old self again and my brain was regulated. So I've been using that a lot when I'm really struggling. Also, I'll do meditations. I really struggle with meditations. I've got an ADHD brain. I'm sure I should have had a diagnosis as a child. All of the signs are there. And I really struggle to sit still and do meditation. Now, there are 4 meditations on the support group here. So you don't have to sit and listen to the whole thing. There are a couple where the meditation doesn't start till halfway through. So skip forward, find out what number it is, and just keep reusing that same one. They're not being used because I can see how many people view them, and a lot of them aren't really viewed. So use them, try them. They're going to be there for you to use. Do them every morning. They don't, even just for 15 minutes. There are lots, if you Google 5-minute meditations, there are tons of them on YouTube. Find one that works for you and just have a 5-minute meditation every morning or every afternoon or before you pick your child up from nursery or school. Do it. It's like a reset for the brain. And the more you do it, the more you will find that regulation. So breathing, humming and tapping, finger pulsing, meditation. Music, I find massively helps me. And I can find the right song to really match my mood. If I'm angry or if I'm sad or if I'm down or if I'm furious, there's always great tunes out there. And as I posted yesterday, I put my music on. I really grudge walking the dog. No one else tends to do it. Mostly falls to me, and I get really hacked off because I'm busy. I don't have time for this, and everyone else is away to work, and I'm the one staying at home doing work, working from home. So of course it's going to fall to me, and I really grudge it. I love my dog, but I don't really want to be walking them all the time. I would like others to be helping me with that, but that's life. So I put my tunes in. And what a difference it makes. I'm off skippity hoppity down the road. And actually, my biggest challenge was not singing out loud in the middle of the street because I was so pumped with the tunes I was listening to. When I got home, I was really pumped. I ended up doing all my housework with my tunes in. I got so much done because I was so motivated by the music. Music can really change my mood. And I was thinking maybe I should make a Spotify playlist. I know my daughter said that you can make your own playlist and allow people to share it and listen to your playlist. So let me know if that's something you want me to do. I'm happy to make a playlist of the tunes that I think help me. And you can welcome to tap into that and use it. But also one of my biggest regulations, which I've only really discovered in the last 6 months, is my swing chair out in the garden. If it's a dry day, I'm out there with my jumper on, my jacket, whatever. If it's cold, I'm out in that swing chair. It makes me feel so calm. I feel like I'm back in the womb. I feel so safe. And I just sit with that repetitive movement. Calming repetitive movement is very, very regulating. So finding something that brings that calming repetitive movement. I can regulate. It doesn't have to be for long. All of these things are short. They can be added into my daily life. I have to give myself permission to be looking after me, to be making me a priority. Because it's not about my child's behaviours. Yes, my child's behaviours are what I want to change in the long term. But if I focus on the behaviour, nothing's going to change. Remember, it's about me learning how to be calm in the behaviour with my child, in my child's emotions. It's not about me shutting that down. It's not about me stopping behaviours. It's about me learning to recognise my triggers and work on my triggers and learn how and what works for me. And until I do that, nothing's going to change. I'm going to still be stressed and overwhelmed by my child's emotions. And maybe some of it going to work short term, but the real core work here is learning how we help ourselves feel safe. Now, as I'm always very clear about, I am not a coach. I am not a trauma therapist. I'm not the person to go to. I wish that I could help you, and I'm happy for anyone to share anything. I'm here to listen. I'm here to validate. But we have wonderful resources. We're sharing them all the time to get that extra support, to get that extra knowledge. And Christiane is always there. You can reach out to Christiane, a wonderful, wonderful trauma coach who works with us and volunteers with us. So she's the one to go to if you want to learn more about this. If you're really struggling, she's got an amazing group, the Brighter Days, which I suggest that you get onto, and she gives great advice and great tips and models how we can do a lot of this work as well. the change starts with us internally. So we can do and say all the right things, but if we're not learning how to be regulated in our overwhelm, it's not going to work. And it's hard. And I'm not blaming or shaming anybody, because this takes practice, and we're going to try and we're going to fail and we're going to try and we're going to fail. And that's okay. This is 4 or 5 years I've been doing this now, probably 6 years, and I'm still learning. And it's when I do have hard times and I do struggle and I try something new. Now, if I had never had that hard time and I had never had to learn to do this and find something else and learn to do this, I could have been sharing it with others. I'm not going to beat myself up because I got it wrong and I struggled and I was perfectly human and perfectly imperfect. We have to be compassionate with ourselves and find what helps us to feel safe, to help our child. So I'm sharing some of these. These are the things that I find that really help me. These are the main things. But you guys will have lots of things that you do that help you. Please share them with us, because the more we can help each other and share ideas, one thing that works for you might work for another person. We're all different. We have to learn and try and learn and try. So let's share. Let's help each other find what works. Okay, thanks, guys.